Welcome everyone to the PJ's Cast. I'm your host Pierce, alongside of my good pal Dylan. Well, we've reached December. This is probably the earliest I've ever recorded a podcast at 7:30 my time. Also, happy belated Thanksgiving to all our American listeners. Besides the Bears losing, Schmitty, how was your Thanksgiving?
It was good. I went home and saw family for like a day and then went back to work. It's good. It's good to see the family. Not much
Yeah,
else to say. The whole family, like, I'm so glad everyone showed up as soon as the Bears lost. That's just so great.
they
But yeah,
did fire. They did fire their coach though. How do you feel about that?
uh, you know how bad you have to be for a team that's never fired a coach midseason to fire a coach
That's
midseason.
crazy. Like, what is it? 100 years of that franchise? That's never happened.
I've seen the Bears lose by 50 to the Packers on Sunday Night Football, and the guy still not get fired. So it takes a special kind of stupid to get fired. That's all I'm gonna say. Um, Guy should have been fired at the only chance to go get a new head coach last year and line up the head coach and the quarterback. And we're going through the same cycle for a third time now, except this time the quarterback's a lot better. So you better not mess up the coach. So
What do you think? Like, what are some options that they could hire for a coach, or do you have any coaches that you want them to hire?
it's so early in the process. There's still teams that haven't even fired their guy yet. The Niners want to be stupid and fire Kyle Shanahan. I will take him in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
Mike Vrabel's another one that I would consider. Like, I think they need someone that's been a former head coach, someone that's in command of room of men. Funny enough, like I take someone like John Gruden. I don't think the Bears would hire him just because it's too much of a personality and they don't like that. Ben Johnson's obviously on the list, but if Joe Burrow is available, he's going to go there. I've made that point very clear to a lot of people. Um, who else? That's like the core group of guys right now. Um, Obviously someone's name could pop up later on, but as of now, I'm not big on Cliff Kingsbury. I'm not big on Bobby Slowick or Aaron Glenn or any of these guys. I think the route they need to go is with someone new, unless like something crazy happens, like Thomas Brown goes like 5-0 as interim, then you kind of have to keep the guy. But I don't know. I think getting a guy like Vrabel could just change the whole dynamic of that locker room. Get someone who's actually a leader of men, not a freaking fraud. That probably help. Not an absolute cornball.
yeah. I'm not a Bears fan, but obviously following so many Blackhawks fans, obviously they're by proxy Bears fans as well, and just like seeing the timeline every Sunday or whatever the day they're playing, it's just like they lose a game. It's not that they lose the game. It seems like how they lose it. Like, what was the stat? Like, they're one of like one of only a couple teams that have like a positive differential, but have lost however many amount of games, something like that. Like, they just cannot win the close games, and it just seems like they fumble it at the last minute. That's just me as someone who isn't like a hardcore football fan.
He's 5-20 in one score games.
That
Any
yeah,
other
that was one of the stats I was reading.
any
That's
other coach you get
crazy.
fired. He's won one game on the road on Sunday. That's
Wow.
unacceptable. Any other coach
Yeah.
gets fired, but it only took him having a whole half season to almost ruin the locker room. So that's great.
Well, hopefully, I don't know if you get worse than that. So hopefully, whoever they hire is better than that. But yeah, on to the other Chicago sports team, the Chicago Blackhawks, and I feel like there are a lot of parallels between the two teams because the Blackhawks beat the Stars 6-2, and to me, easily the most catharsis, like satisfying win of the season. Taylor Hall broke out with a hat trick, his first hat trick since 2013, almost 11 years, I think, and Connor Bedard broke a 12-game goal streak or goalless drought. Just that was so satisfying as well. Just seeing him snipe the freaking puck onto Smith. Table Teravainen getting a goal as well, and then Louis Crevier getting his first NHL goal. Like, just a great win. I don't care if DeSmith was in net. I mean, they destroyed the Stars. Like, there was one shift where Pat Maroon and Craig Smith are skating circles around Miro Haskin and Thomas Harley, and they beat Florida, the defending Cup champions, grinded out a win there. It's going back to last year, it's not that they lost so many games. It's not that they lost to all these good teams. To me, where I got frustrated is when they lost to either mid-tier teams, teams that might make the playoffs, might not make the playoffs, kind of on the fringe, and they would also lose to teams that are more at their competition, bottom of the barrel. Like last year, first loss that comes to mind is that freaking St. Louis loss. Like St. Louis isn't a bottom of the barrel team, but I wouldn't really call them playoff contender either. He blew a 5-2 lead to that, and just so many other losses last year where they got blown out by Columbus, they got blown out by then Arizona, and just looking at the past 4 games since we did our last podcast, they beat the defending Cup champions, Florida Panthers, and then they destroy the Dallas Stars. But then, Minnesota is a good team, but you should be able to hold on to a 2-0 lead and not blow it every time. And the Flyers, I would say more closer to their competition, blow a 2-0 lead and lose. So, this team should be better than what they are. I think that I've said that. I mean, there's definitely some things we can pick apart. There's like legitimate, valid concerns, but to me, they shouldn't be right at the bottom of the barrel. But shoulda, woulda, coulda. All these games, you're close in and you can't score more than 2 goals. Like the record, I think when they score 3 or more goals is ridiculous. Like I think they've only lost 1 game. I think they're 7-1-0 now when scoring 3 or more goals. They've gotten great goaltending. Their team save percentage is in the top 5 of the NHL, or at least when I last checked, and that was a few days ago. I don't think that's gonna change. Like they're right at the top, and they're they're the only team at the top with this team save percentage, and they have a record below 500. Like the other teams at the top were Toronto, and obviously the Rangers and Jets, just because of Shesterkin and Hellebuck alone. And Ben Pope tweeted out like they have been leading games for the 12th most in the NHL. So like they're in the top half for that. They're in like the middle of the pack in terms of like expected goals against. Like they can defend, they can get saves, but they cannot score freaking goals when it matters. They cannot get the extra third goal, and like it's time to make some moves. Either whether that's calling up Nazar or making a freaking trade for Ze-gras. We said we should have left Ze-gras in Chicago. Like you should have taken Morgan Frost on the plane with you. Like they got to make a move for the offense because it's. Yeah, you got a game where you score 6 goals, but that's the outlier. So many of these games you're in it, but you can only score 2 goals. It's frustrating because I know they can do better.
Yeah, I think I saw the meme where it's like, oh, San Jose has the potential to make the playoffs the first year, and they literally had the same record as the Blackhawks. They just score more goals and let up more.
It's that harassment versus flirting meme. It's like same record. It's like, oh, we're scoring all these goals. We got Will Smith, Macklin celebrating, and William Eklund. It's like, oh, aren't you so sweet? It's like, oh, we're playing a shutdown defensive game. Like, HR.
Yeah,
That's what
human,
it's like.
yeah, human resources. What's going on over here? But yeah, I mean they're playing good team defense. Like the puck's just not going in clearly. They're getting to a point where they're starting to click with the lines. Like I think players like Bertuzzi have taken a huge step in the last week or two because he was not a contributor nightly up until about 2 weeks ago. Taylor Hall got off the Schneid. That's good. I think I saw something that said he's going to be trade bait. I mean, if he keeps that up, that doesn't shock me. I get not wanting to call up Nazar, but like how
if something, man. Yeah.
If you can't get over the hump and you're not going to make a trade, what are you going to do? Like, you can't just sit here and be middling again. And I'm not even saying go make the playoffs. Just you cannot be bottom of the barrel playing this good of defense. And the easiest way to solve that is to get another scoring piece in there. Granted, I think not having Seth Jones right now doesn't help either because they don't have a single defenseman on the back end that can move the puck besides Vlasic. So that's not fun. But
you're not going to call up Korchinski like he ever left Shunov. Like that's not going to happen. I don't think that's going to help really at all. Help anyone.
Nope. It's not going to help anyone. They're like, this team will be interesting to watch in camp next year, but until then, it's just kind of a waiting game, I feel like.
And I'm like, San Jose and Chicago are going to be interlinked I feel really within the next decade, just because of them having first overall picks and them having high profile first overall picks with Bedard and Celebrini. And I was looking at the Sharks Puckpedia page, like looking at their draft picks, just looking at their team, like what their depth charts and contracts look like. And I'm looking at San Jose's draft pick situation, and they don't have all their draft picks this year. This year, like they have their first, second, third, and fourth. They don't have a fifth and a sixth. Not that that matters that much, but like they're not like, you know, like they don't have a ton of draft picks like the Blackhawks do. But I don't think Sharks fans care about that right now. It's like, yeah, they're not winning, but it's exciting hockey. They have a lot of young players in there. They've made trades for guys like Yaroslav Askarov, and
Jake
I'm just
Walden.
I was yeah, like they made a lot of like trades, and I look at Kyle Davidson, and yeah, again, I get the patience. Like I'm looking at the draft picks; they still have 2 first-round picks this year, 2 second-round picks this year, no third, but 2 fourths. Like once it gets to the draft, you can with all those draft picks, you can move up and down however you want to. Um, but I was looking at like what has Kyle Davidson done the last like it seems like year and a half, almost 2 seasons? Because it doesn't seem like he's done a lot. Obviously,
What is it
his first
exactly
trade,
you do here?
yeah. Well, his first trade deadline was crazy. Obviously, trading Brandon Hagel for 2 firsts, which have ended up being Oliver Moore and Sasha Boisvert, which I mean, it's tough watching Brandon Hagel because he's doing so well in Tampa Bay right now. He might even make the Canadian Four Nations roster and the Olympic roster next year. But so far, like you got to be promised with Oliver Moore and Sasha Boisvert. Like he made that trade at that deadline, and then next year, 2023, obviously all the trades he made with like Max Domi, obviously trading away Patrick Kane. But ever since summer 2023, he made the trade to get Taylor Hall and Nick Foligno from Boston. And, he traded for like for the rights of Corey Perry. But other than that, Kyle Davidson really hasn't done that much since summer 2023. It's been almost 2 calendar years now. And I think the only trades he made last year was like getting Anthony Beauvillier, which was basically nullified because then you traded him back, or you traded him to Nashville and got the draft pick you traded to Vancouver in the first place. And like a couple of depth trades there, you got Ilya Mikheyev, and really the last couple of years, like if he's making trades, it's because he's taking on a more like a bad contract, getting a draft pick back, and getting probably an older player. To me, he hasn't made a trade yet where you trade a draft pick and get a young player and take a chance again. I don't think San Jose cares that that they're like their draft pick isn't like overloaded right now because they got young exciting players that they've taken chances on and they're playing good hockey right now. Whereas I feel Kyle Davidson, he's been a little too patient. I think you need to make a move now, and I think we're going to be saying their names until the trade deadline a lot. And it makes sense because Elliot Freeman did bring up Morgan Frost's name as a potential match with the Blackhawks. Like something's got to be done there. And he's also said that the Blackhawks are in a second line center. Like what? Philip Tomasino got a 4th round pick. Now I don't think Philip Tomasino is on the level of like a Frost or Ze-gras. It would definitely take more, but you're not having to trade away a 1st round pick to get Ze-gras. Like maybe a second and a third, maybe 2 seconds, but it won't cost a first. I don't think you gotta make a move sometime soon. And like if it doesn't work, oh well. Like Taylor Hall gonna be trade bait. Maybe not a second, but maybe you get a third, get that third back, and maybe like trading Alec Martinez. Like they're gonna have guys that they can trade at the deadline. Same with Ryan Donato, especially if he keeps up this goal scoring. And kind of just to wrap it up, like I don't think their depth goal scoring has been the issue. Like they've gotten that crazy performance out of Ryan Donato. They've gotten goals out of Craig Smith. To me, it's like the secondary scoring. I still think they need more out of Table. I still think they need more out of Bertuzzi. I hope this is finally where Bedard takes off because that's their main guy. But to me, they need like another play driver and another young talent. And both Ze-gras and Morgan Frost fit that bill.
Yeah, they just need more out of their guys. I don't think there's any other way to put it. Obviously, it starts with if 98 gets going, that changes everything. But at the same time, he can't
Rising
get going.
tide lifts all boats. Yeah.
Yep, can't get going if Bertuzzi can't score, if Teravainen can't score consistently, if Taylor Hall can't score consistently. We talked about Philip Kurashev, who's an absolute afterthought on this team right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that arbitration's going to go well because I think he has arbitration rights.
Oh, he's losing money by the day.
Yeah.
That's on him.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has no one to blame but himself in that situation.
Yeah, you're losing like tens of thousands of dollars every time you step on the ice for a shift.
Yeah, 100%. And I hope Kyle Davidson takes that knowledge and trades high on Donato because there's no reason to keep that player.
No.
He is not going to produce this goal rate ever again. Like, I'm not going to watch this for a fourth time with this team. They did it with Gustafsson. They did it like you need to trade a player while he's high. And if Donato keeps this up at the deadline, just send him off. Just send him off. I don't care. Because like you lost so much value. You could have traded Kurashev for legit draft picks last year. It's whatever. Hindsight's 2020, but at the same time, like that was a conversation at the time. So you can't bank on a one outlier season. Like Hagel was different. Hagel, it was all the analytics backed up that if you just put him in a situation, he's going to play that level. And then he took 2 steps forward after that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's going to happen with Donato. He's like 28 years old. This is what he is. No. He's just got puck luck this year. That's all it is.
Yep. Yeah, I think I don't think they're going to trade away Kurashev because I think they want to keep some younger guys around. I mean, could they? Well, whatever. But yeah, and like the case of these guys who have crazy offensive seasons, like you bring up Eric Gustafsson, had a crazy year 2018-19. Okay, what else does he do? Like if his performance like regresses next season, what else can he do to keep him around on your team? And not really nothing. Like Ryan Donato scoring these goals. If you like, even if he regresses, like what does he really do that's worth keeping him around? And yeah, you just like if he's not going to keep up this goal scoring pace, like there's a chance by the deadline he's flirting with 20 goals. Yeah, I think you need to trade him, and I think there would be teams wanting to trade for him. Like again, don't think you're getting a first, but you could probably get a second for Donato, especially if you're retaining money and he's got 1 year left. So yeah, that's going to be discussions that we have coming in the next couple months because they're going to have guys that are going to be traded. Like Alec Martinez is probably going to be mentioned as well. We've already mentioned Taylor Hall, and going back to the team save percentage earlier, how the Blackhawks are right at the top. There are teams that are trying to win a Stanley Cup that are right at the bottom. I think I read Colorado's team save percentage is at 870, so they're just like 45 points below the Blackhawks are, and they're trying to win a Stanley Cup. They already made a trade for Scott Wedgwood and trade away Justice Ununen, which is basically just rearranging the chairs on the Titanic. And Brossoit being out for 6 more weeks longer kind of complicates things. But if Brossoit is back by like February and you're getting close to the trade deadline, and if you're the Blackhawks, you won't be able to send Arvid Soderblom down to Rockford because he will have played a certain amount of games where he'll be no longer be waivers exempt. Like there's gonna be teams I think that are gonna want to try to trade for Soderblom. And again, goalie trades are always so complicated. Like it's never what you would think it would be. Just looking at some of the goalie trades that have been made recently, like Jacob Markstrom. I always go back to the Ryan Miller trade, him being a franchise goalie, and I think he got like a first round pick and like a couple of guys that never really turned out to be much. So you're probably not getting a first, but if you can even get a second for Arvid Soderblom and he gets a chance to play on a legitimately good team, like you make that trade because you put all your money into Mrazek and Brossoit. But those are going to be conversations that are going to be had in the next couple months and not necessarily be solved at this moment.
Not trying to be that guy, but like your medical department didn't pick up on this with Brossoit when you get him the money. Like just a genuine red flag from this management group. Don't even want to get into that, but you should just be thanking Christ that Soderblom remembered how to play goaltender because holy smokes, that just looks terrible right now. Like you signed a guy and he's not going to see the ice this year. Great job. Looks good on you. Awesome job.
Well, that's the thing. Like they said, like 6 weeks and then they're going to reevaluate. I'm pretty sure. Like that is.
He's not playing a game this year. Like it's insane. You should just be thanking God Soderblom is 6-1-4 with a 926 or 6. Yeah, sorry. He's 1-4 with a 926. That's just like
that's the most Blackhawks
guys can't score 3 goals.
Yeah, can't for real.
Whatever.
And it's so clear that's the problem. Like the goaltending defense is set. Really, you just need some freaking more play
score
drivers.
Some effing goals. Like this is not rocket science. And I will go back to this conversation again too. what easier way to trade for Morgan Frost and send him for Arvid Soderblom when everyone gets healthy?
Yeah.
Philly's highest goaltender is Erson with a 902.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that could use Soderblom, especially contending teams. Again, I don't think you're getting like a crazy trade back, but you could get something of value that can help your team by trading him, especially with his contract.
Yeah, I mean, like, shit, look at Colorado.
Yep, Colorado's the first one that comes to mind.
875 from Georgiev.
That's crazy that Soderblom has like a 50 points higher save percentage than that.
Dude, it's bad. Like, hell, even John Gibson's a 922 this year. Like,
Ooh.
like there are goalies out there to be had, and someone's gonna make the first move. I just don't know who it's gonna be.
Yeah. You know what? I want to bring that back up again, that T percentage page, because that ties so heavily into a lot of the moves that are being made around the NHL. Like coaches getting fired. Like, show me a bad coach, I'll show you a bad goalie kind of thing. So I want to pull up the team save percentage because not only do teams need a starting goalie, like teams just want to use a backup. Like Arvid Soderblom doesn't necessarily have to be a starting goalie, but he can just be a guy that comes in there every few games and gives you what he's been giving. So T save percentage 24-25 season. Where is it? Team save percentage. There we go. So yeah, Minnesota Wild are at the top at 923. That's because they got Fleury and Gustafsson is back to what he was a couple of years ago. Winnipeg second, obviously 921. With Hellebuck. Rangers third with 919 was Shesterkin and Quick. Toronto at 917 was Stolarz and Wall. Oh, Anaheim, pardon me. Anaheim has taken over the fifth spot because of Gibson and Dostal. The Blackhawks are in sixth with a 915. Go to the bottom. Colorado has an 872 save percentage. Just looking at some other contenders, the Oilers have an 890. Vancouver, who I think wants to make
evergreen statement.
Mm-hmm. Carolina is also another interesting team because I think Frederick Anderson is injured again. Surprise. They have an 893 team save percentage. It seems like everything's going well there. Like they got a good defense. Marty Necas is like leading the league in points or is right up there. They could use an Arvid Soderblom. And even just teams like they don't need a starting goalie, but could use a way better backup. Florida Panthers have an 897 save percentage. The Tampa Bay Lightning have an 898 save percentage. Like, yeah, there's a lot of teams that could use an Arvid Soderblom right now. And I don't think you do it right now because you need both those goalies to keep you in games. But, you know, if you're going to lose more games and not make trades to help the offense and you're, you know, bottom of the barrel come the trade deadline, it doesn't really matter. You make that trade and then call someone like Comesso up or maybe Brossois is healthy by then. But I wouldn't bank on that. Like, I want to hang my hat on that.
Yeah, I don't. I'm just more frustrated with the fact that you couldn't just figure out that your goaltender just can't play hockey right now. Like that's.
I wonder what happened. Like, because he didn't hurt himself while playing like in a preseason game or in practice or anything. Like, I think he just found that out on his own. So yeah, it's a little that is concerning to put it mildly with the Blackhawks, but I don't know. I don't know the full story there. Yeah, that should be the main priority for Kyle Davidson going up to this trade deadline, going to the draft, going into free agency, is upgrading this offense. And this leads into the next topic because I think Pierre LeBrun said it that Mikko Rantanen could command $14 million on the open market, and the Blackhawks still really don't have that much money tied up into their roster right now. Like other than Jones, like Vlasic's contract is a sweetheart deal. Like you won't have to worry about that. Like that's gonna age so nicely. Yeah, you put a bit of money into Tavo, into Burt, but I don't think that's gonna hinder your chances for potentially going after someone like Mikko Rantanen, to me, who is at the top of that list. And I get it. Like you're gonna have to overpay. That's part of free agency. Like you're probably gonna have to give him 14 million a year. I think I was like Artemi Panarin, I think was 27, 28 when he hit the open market in 2019. Mikko Rantanen is gonna be like 28, 29. I think like his percentage of the cap was 14% back then with that cap, and if Rantanen signs now like 14%, like you're looking at 13.5 million dollars. Like at some point, again, not making the trades, but also like spending the money. If Mikko Rantanen, a player of that caliber, hits the market, or hell, even like Mikko Rantanen's my number one target, but if Mitch Marner hits free agency, you also make them over. A bit on a lower scale, like Nikolai Ehlers, you also make that move. But to me, Mikko Rantanen is number one. But knowing the NHL, it's probably going to be boring. He's probably going to re-sign in Colorado, but Colorado isn't doing like amazing right now. Like, what if the 18-wheeler falls off the cliff and Rantanen just leaves through free agency and wants to get that money? Like, Blackhawks should be all over that.
I'd love to think that that's going to happen, but Colorado's just going to fuck up their cap situation and give them 14 mil. Like, that's what every
That's okay.
team
We'll
does.
sign McCarr then. Yeah.
You don't let your stars walk.
That's the thing. Like, it just so rarely happens in hockey that it's not a thing. It's just mostly a hypothetical.
Yeah, hypotheticals.
Hypothetically speaking, for the sake of the argument.
I can't put any faith in anything like that right now. So rather just let it play out. We'll know more by like April next year. All we know, this fucker's gonna get extended in like a week. So
yeah, right after the show's done. Same with Mitch Marner. Like, I feel they're gonna find a way to keep up. Like, they're gonna have like 4 guys that are making $10+ million on that team.
Yeah, but the cap's going up, so
yeah. But yeah, that's gonna be the thing. Like, I think within the next couple of years, I wonder if we start seeing guys taking like shorter deals, just because the cap is going up, and like maybe like once they hit free agency, they can really cash in like a few years down the line. Like I think of Austin Matthews. He only signed a 4-year extension, and he's gonna be what 30, 31 when he hits the open market. Like, he's gonna get paid if he ever hits the open market. Connor McDavid's contract's coming up. I don't think Connor McDavid's gonna leave Edmonton. Like, he's probably gonna sign 8 years. Like, it's so predictable. Most hockey stars are gonna stay with the team that they're drafted or have been like since their early days. So, but yeah, if and like at this point, I think the Wild are gonna try to keep Kaprizov because they're doing so well right now. I guess we could transition into that next topic. Like, kind of to wrap it up. Like, if Mikko Rantanen or Mitch Marner or whoever reaches free agency, I don't care. You throw the bag at them. Yeah, I don't know if you can really even overplay for these players. Like, Mikko Rantanen's like 100-point getter. Like, he's done it twice. He scored 50 goals. He's going to be 28, 29. That contract's going to take him up till 36. Like, yeah, he might not be as effective in like his mid to late 30s, but you're going to get value out of that contract. And the reality is, like, Blackhawks aren't like, unless one of their prospects just takes off and like, oh no, like Frank Nazar is a regular 70, 80-point guy out the gate. Like, you're not going to be paying all these young players that you drafted a lot of money. A lot of them are going to be coming in on their entry-level contracts. Like Nick Lardis, I don't know if he's going to make the jump to the NHL next year, but he's definitely going to be in the AHL next year and might get a shot in the NHL. Like, you got him for 3 years on an ELC. Oliver Moore, even if he signs at the end of the year, you're going to have him for 2 years on an ELC. Like, you're going to have a lot of these guys on an ELC. You're going to have to spend money to get good players in here. So, yeah, Rantanen, Marner, even Ehlers, if they make the market, like, just throw the bag at them and upgrade this offense, because at the end of the day, that's really the big thing. On to the next topic. This trade that was supposed to be imminent like a couple weeks ago has finally happened. Minnesota Wild acquired David Jiricek from the Columbus Blue Jackets. I believe it was for a first this year, just top 5 protected, and with how Minnesota is playing, that's very unlikely that's going to happen. I have the full trade up here. So, yeah, Minnesota got David Jiricek, a 2025 5th-round pick, and then the Blue Jackets get Damon Hunt, a conditional first, 2025 top 5 protected, and then 2026 3rd and 4th-round pick, and then a 2027 2nd-round pick. So, what are your thoughts on the deal?
Of course, it's Minnesota.
Yeah, I know, huh?
Columbus dropped the ball immensely, in my opinion. You got pick 30 for David Juracek. Good job, guys. Really just the dumbest organization on earth. And that starts from the previous management group, but also the new management group did the exact same thing. So either we're going to find out who's right in about a year, because David Juracek still produces at an immense rate, the AHL level, and the fact that he doesn't even have to be the top guy in Minnesota because they have guys like Faber
and Juracek. Oh, I hate that. I hate that.
Dude, the right side's Faber, Spurgeon, Juracek right now.
Yeah, and I forgot about the guy who scored 2 goals against us, his first 2 goals of the season. But then apparently he scored an overtime winner against Nashville, so maybe we just woke him up.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a good trade for Minnesota. I don't get what Columbus is doing. I never get what Columbus is doing. I think they're just a joke of an organization, and they're going to win today against the Blackhawks just to prove me wrong. But I don't care. That organization is a fucking tire fire. It's insane. Like, Dean Evason's got him playing well right now, but just in terms of a management standpoint, I don't know what else doing. I don't. I have no idea. You don't. He didn't get anything worth of value in this trade. I'm sorry. If this was like 2 years ago, yeah, you probably got like pick 15. It's not. Minnesota's best record in the NHL right now. Worst case scenario, they're a wild card team this year. You're not getting a good first round pick from this.
Wait, hold on, Lois.
Even if you do, they're going to kick it down the can a year. So it doesn't matter. Sorry, I can't see this as a win for Columbus.
Hang on, Lois. The magic box could be anything. It could be a boat. It could be David Juracek.
Yeah, it could even be David Juracek. Joke of an organization.
Yeah, I get things weren't going well there. And a lot of the times we talk about when players do get traded to another team when things aren't working out. There's also a lot of examples of, no, we're not trading you. You're staying on our team, and we're figuring it out. Over the summer, Yaroslav Askarov was traded. That's an example of it not working out. But there's examples of remember the story I read a couple podcasts ago of Nick Backstrom asking for a trade request after the 2017 playoffs. We never talk about those. How often does that happen just internally, and it doesn't even get to the media, and we know about it? I bet it happens way more often than not. But yeah, David Juracek, a 20-year-old defenseman, 6 foot, 6'3", right-handed shot, everything you would want in a guy that you want to be your top pairing guy, to be your guy going forward. I don't think he ever formally requested a trade. I don't think but
Alan Walsh put the writing on the wall. Let's be honest. I saw him tweeting about it at least once a week. Then every time you tweet something like that, something cryptic like that, we know what's going on behind the scenes. We're not,
and that's true with the case of Alan Walsh. I mean, that's your job as an agent to protect your client.
100%.
I even think of with Fleury a couple of years ago when he posted that picture of him, being stabbed.
With the staff through Juracek and
yeah. And then he got traded a year later. I don't know. That's not the main reason why Vegas traded him, but that's got to be because they're just dumping salary. But that's got to be a reason why. There's maybe a little bit of animosity. But yeah, if I were Columbus, keep it and figure things out. And I wonder if that's even the last player that they trade that they've drafted these last few years, because we say this all the time with new general managers. A lot of these players that they didn't draft, they want to put their stamp on the team. They want to get the players that they want. What if they're not trading Fantilli, but what if they trade away a Kent Johnson is on the block or a Cole Sillinger? I still think Columbus is going to be an interesting team to watch going in the deadline. And I would even say off season, because they have all these young guys, and are you going to keep them or are you going to trade them? And there's the first domino with David Juracek. That could just be it. Maybe they keep everything together. Again, Dean Evason's got them playing fine, but yeah, with Columbus, it always feels like there's always something extra happening. It's never just Columbus is a good team, no notes about it. There's always some extra happening, and that's in the case of David Juracek.
And the worst part is they're having, like I said, they're having actual positive growth this year within the organization. Zach Werenski's having a Norris caliber year. No one's talking about it. He's got 8 goals and 16 assists in 22 games. Ken Johnson's over a point a game. He's
never mind
11
about
and
Ken
8.
Johnson then. Like,
yeah, well, he was hurt for the last month. That was the whole thing.
Oh,
But
okay.
Marchenko's over a point a game. He's got 23 and 22. Monahan's got 20 and 22. Like,
that's awesome.
They're getting production. Like, Matthew Olivier has 10 points this year. Kevin LeBank's got 10 points in 17 games.
Where would Matthew Olivier rank on the Black?
Jesus. But, like, they're getting depth scoring. Like, Zach Aston-Reese has 4 goals. Olivier's got 7. Severson's got 4. Danforth's got 3. Like, JVR's got 3 goals somehow on this team. Like, Veronkov's having a decent he's got 10 and 13. That's pretty good. Tilly's having up and down season, but the points come and go.
And he's still 20 or 19 or whatever he is. Like, he's still so young. Mm-hmm. And like Kane Lindstrom is injured too. Like, they have. That's the thing with like what Jarmo Kekalainen did. Like, you can question some of the moves he made, but mainly like the Blue Jackets have done a good job of getting young players in the system. To me, they just need a freaking proper head coach to guide them along. Like, having like John Tortorella helped this team when they were good, when they have guys like Artemi Panarin and Seth Jones on the team. Sergei Bobrovsky helped them win a round and be a competitive team. And then once he left, and who was it? I can't even remember. It was like Pascal Vincent or whatever his freaking name is. I can't remember. He's irrelevant. Doesn't matter. And then you hire Mike Babcock going into last season. Like, yeah, no shit. What did you think was going to happen? Did you think that was going to go well?
And I like Evason too. I think that's a good pick for them.
That's what I mean. Like, they finally got a head coach, a guy I've heard nothing but good things about with Dean Evason. Of course, like, now he's got them playing well. So that's all. To me, that's all they really need. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think their future's brighter. But yeah, it just, it's always with Columbus. It's never like stability. There's always something happening where they got to make a move. So, but yeah, I don't know. I would have at least waited. Maybe you don't keep him, but I feel like could have hung on a little longer and tried to find something, because you're not at like Alan Walsh and David Yurchek can complain all they want for a trade, but at the end of the day, you're the general manager. Like, I always think of Steve Yzerman holding on to Drouin. Like, he wanted a trade, but he held on to him until he found exactly what he wanted, and he got Mikhail Sergachev. But also, it doesn't ever really always work out like that, where you're going to get like 100% value for your top end player, prospect, whatever.
Well, here's the thing. Like, if you would have told me at the night of the 22 draft that Korchinski has more NHL games than David Jiricek, I would have been like, what? But it's it's the reality of the situation. This guy's only played 50 NHL games. He's still extremely raw at the NHL level. So I guess in hindsight, it makes sense why the package isn't as steep. But at the same time, I don't know if that's more of an indictment on your development or an indictment on what he's done as a player, because like, I don't think it's fair to judge this guy off of his first 3 years of his career when he's getting thrown around. Like I'm looking at his Puckpedia right now, right? So he played 55 in Cleveland. He had his rookie year when he was 18. He had 38 points in 55 games as a defenseman. And then he had 4 games in the NHL. Cool. Then he went to Czechia, did all this cool stuff. Awesome. For the international, like World Juniors and stuff. Then the next year, he plays 43 with Columbus, 29 with Cleveland, and 14 playoff games where he was – this playoff games, he had 11 points in 14 games.
That's good.
Yeah, but it's the idea of he's getting bounced back and forth all over the place, because I know it wasn't a solid 43-game stint. This was like he played 10, got sent down. And
yo-yoed.
It's never good for development. And this year he's got 6 in Columbus and 4 in Cleveland. It's like, pick a lane. Like, at least I can respect the Hawks for just giving Korchinski the whole year in the NHL last year.
They clearly have a plan there.
Yeah, one, their hands were tied. You can't send him to Rockford. But 2, they didn't yo-yo him. They didn't let him play 40 games and send him back to junior, which was a real possibility at one point.
Yeah.
It's never good for prospects when you're sending them back and forth. It never is. The only guy I've ever seen been able to get sent back and forth and become a superstar is Leon Draisaitl. That's it.
That is true.
Like, who's the last guy you can think of that got yo-yoed in the AHL and NHL and was good? Like, Ken Johnson's kind of been good, but like, yeah.
That's Columbus again. Yeah. Yeah, like there's probably examples, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. So
Yeah, like there's times where it works. There's times where it doesn't work. Most of the time, it's a time where it doesn't work. I'll give you one on the Hawks. I'll guarantee you, bouncing Lucas Reichel back and forth for 3 years did not help his development at all.
Yeah, that's
at
a good
all.
example.
Or
yeah.
playing him out of his position did not help him at all. I just think this is a situation where you have a 6th overall pick and you should be handling it with a little more care. It's giving Bowman. Except he didn't trade it for Alex Nylander. So I guess we're moving in the right direction. I think I'm just more hung up on the fact that they picked the Wild, who are one of the best teams in the league right now, and they're like, "Yeah, that's the first round pick we want." Like,
dude, they're so confident.
You could have got a first from like Colorado, and really could have rolled the dice, or like, I guarantee you, Nashville would have traded you one of their 3 firsts for your check.
Yeah.
And then you could really play with your toys because you have 2 firsts, like good firsts too. It's not going to be like one's pick 8 and one's.
It's gonna be like the Blackhawks
25.
in 2022 when they had 7 and 13.
Yes,
kind of thing.
Hell, it was 7 2021. They had 5. What was it? 5, 12, and 20, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
Granted, they only hit on 2 of the 3. Like Sillinger's slowly coming along, but I mean, he's got 13 and 21 this year. Like, I don't know. I'm indifferent on Cole Sillinger. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
He's in his 4th season, though. Like, holy shit.
That he's in his 4th. That dude, time is not real. Holy shit. That's right.
He played. I forgot he played as an 18-year-old. That was the whole thing. And then he sucked in 22, 23, and then he took a step forward this last year. But fucking hell, just it's not a way you conduct a good team, and like. It's not even taking into account the stuff that happened off the ice with this team this offseason. For God's sakes, they lost their franchise player, like on a freak accident. And they're persevering through all this stuff, but then you take a step back with the Urtech trade. Like that's
what I mean. A truly great story after heartbreak and tragedy in the offseason. It's just like maybe it's like disingenuous to say, but like booger in the cake, like everything seems to be going up at Columbus. Is like booger in the cake. Oh, it's trading your former 6th overall pick, who was supposed to be your franchise defenseman for, I would say, pennies on the dollar. Like bunch of
your young decor is disgusting now. Like you have those 2 and Zeev Buyo. That's your 3 core. And then Wallstedt's your goalie with Gustafsson. Like, their back end is set. If they can extend Kaprizov next offseason, they are going to be effing set. They are going to be at the top of this division when the Hawks are good. So, like, this is why I get frustrated with it. Because as good as the Hawks have drafted, as good as the Hawks are developing, guess what? Your division's still going to be cracked as hell.
Wild got players that are
cracked,
good now and
Jets,
are going to be good.
Cracked. Yeah, you're right. The Wild are good now, and they're going to be good in 5 years. The Stars are good now, going to be great in 5 years. Colorado's still going to have Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar. It's going to be the Tampa Bay Lightning of our division. They're just going to be always hanging around, even with dog shit goaltending. That's the crazy part. Any other team is last place right now with the goaltending Colorado has. But nope, they just literally are like, we'll score 6. We'll score 6 and win every game. We don't care. And it'll come from 4 players. It won't matter. And then you have Winnipeg, who's just an enigma. And then you have St. Louis, who we didn't even talk about this. They just freaking got Jim Montgomery to fix that roster, which we've always said the roster's not blasting the league bad. So if you can get them playing in the right way, they're going to be average. Like that's just what they are. And then you have Utah, who's taken tremendous strides this year. This division is not getting easier. That's why I get so frustrated with the Hawks not making a move. That's why I get so frustrated with them sitting on their hands, because every team in the division is getting better. What are you doing? You're being stagnant. Well, I lied. They are getting better. They're getting better at team defense. They're getting better at goaltending. It shows when they play the top of the division. They've beaten the Stars this year. They've beaten the Avs this year. They've beaten the Panthers this year. This is the problem with this team. They play up to their competition. But just like that, they play down to their competition. They even got the monkey off their back. They beat Minnesota this year. Like, it just shows how long of a way they have to go. I don't know. I didn't mean to tailspin this back to the Hawks, but you just look at the division right now. Every team's getting better. except Nashville. Nashville's kind of in limbo, but
Yeah, Nashville is a little bit of a different story. I think they're going to be a very intriguing team
you have
to
one
watch at
out
the
of 8
deadline.
teams that's in
Yeah,
limbo.
yeah,
Congratulations.
exactly.
I guess St.
Mhm.
Louis too, but even then, like I could see St. Louis turning it around just as easy.
I don't know if St.
Thomas
Louis
is healthy. Like, sorry.
How many teams in this division are just going to completely bottom out? I mean, Nashville might do it this year, but I can't see like St. Louis bottoming out completely ever, like what the Blackhawks.
Winnipeg is going to bottom out in like 2 years. That's not happening anytime soon. But
yeah,
because they don't have the prospect pool. Colorado, they're just going to get thin. That's the only thing that's going to happen with them. Dallas is never going to bottom out unless they fuck up a contract. Minnesota's not going to bottom out. Granted, like they'll have to reshape their forward core in about 2 years, but who cares when your back-ending goaltending is going to be set and you're a franchise player potentially.
Dude, the craziest part is with like kind of to wrap up to the Juracek trade, like disgusting defensive core. Not only Wallstedt, but you're gonna have Wallstedt and Gustafsson as your goalies for however long, like 5+ years, maybe a decade.
And they're all learning from Fleury right now. It's a great setup. Who's their GM again? Is it Bill Guerin?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing a good job.
He's one of those GMs, like, all right, he marches to the beat of his own drums. And like there's been criticisms I've had of Bill Guerin, like with the Parise and Sewer contracts, but it's like it's one of those moves in the moments, like, yeah, it sucks, but it seems like it's gonna pay off because you're gonna have those contracts off the book soon, like the buyout money, or at least it's gonna go down to a point where it's not that much and you got the cap going up. I say this all the time about Minnesota. They need, I think, one more, like, it doesn't even have to be a first line center. Like as an example, if like Minnesota wants to go all in, like because this team is on my mind because they might bottom out. Like, what if Minnesota goes after Ryan O'Reilly and you got like Marco Rossi, Joel Eriksson Ek, and Ryan O'Reilly as your center core? Like, yeah, you don't have a legitimate superstar number one center, but you have 3 guys that you can put out there and trust in any situation, I think. So Minnesota to me is an interesting team to watch, and they have a pretty good prospect pool. But yeah, to me that's a heist for them. Like they're so confident in their
prospect pool. I think you're underselling their prospect pool. It's really good. They got guys like Uroff in there. They got guys
they were good, or did I say by accident they're bad? Because I'm like their prospect.
No, you didn't say they were bad. I just think they're better than middling. Like I think they actually have like a top 5 prospect pool right now.
There you go. That proves the point of Bill Guerin's job. Yeah.
Well, because like think about it, he had like 2 firsts a couple years ago, hit on both, I think.
Ogren and Uroff,
yeah, both are great. Hit on Boyum, traded down and got extra picks to get Boyum, which is even crazier.
They traded out 1 pick.
Yeah, got an extra third, got the guy they wanted. Like, so that's good business. That's tidy business right there.
Tidy business.
Yeah, he got Wallstedt in 2020, 2021. Which year was it? I don't know.
2021,
Yeah, like that was the right pick at the time. I think the only one I've questioned is like Carson Lambos, but like the
1 pick out of however
jury's
many
still out on
panned
him.
out. Yeah.
I know, and he's not had a top 10 pick.
Yep.
Actually, that's a lie. He had Marco Rossi. Ooh. And
it wasn't like he was a top, like a 5th, like he wasn't a top 5 pick. Like I think he was 9th or something. Like it's
exactly.
Not like
he's not had a top
5
3rd
overall pick. Yeah.
And that's why the Wild are. Well, that's why the steps they're taking now are the smartest things they've done, because they see the writing on the wall. They're not bad enough to get a top 10 pick. They're not bad enough to get a top 5 pick. So go get them through trade. And they just did that with David Juracek. I think that's why I'm so mad about this. It's a really good move for the Wild. And if it doesn't work out, no, you traded pick 25. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
Dude, they're so confident in their abilities that they were like, oh, we're gonna trade away a 1st round pick already into this year. And like granted, like it's not, I think it's still different trading your 1st round pick in the off season than it is like during the season, but like it's still pretty early on. Like things could go bad, but I don't see that happening with the Wild. Like that's confidence from your general manager, and like what, and I'm pretty sure they're just going to play Juracek on the team anyways. And like what a boost that is to your locker room to be like, okay, we're off to a really good start. We're right at the top of the NHL. Like here's a young right-handed defenseman who is going to make our team better, and not only for the next decade, really.
Yeah, it's. If you're a Wild fan, it's a fun time. You just need to extend Kaprizov now.
I would even say you can go wild.
Yuck, 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 yuck.
You see? Do you wanna touch more on the Blues hiring Montgomery and getting rid of Drew Bannister?
Yeah, we can.
All right, because we talked about how volatile, fickle coaching is in the NHL right now, and how there's only like 5 coaches. I think it's less than 5 coaches. I think it's 4 coaches that have been with their same team since like before COVID. Like I think it's Cooper, Sullivan, Brendamore, and Bednar. And then the rest have either have been hired and fired like within 2022. So like less than 3 calendar years. Like Luke Richardson's already top 10. I think he's like 8th or 9th. It's crazy. And it's the NHL. Like if you like I said this with Montgomery, like he's gonna find a job if he wants to. And like within less than a week, he goes back to St. Louis where he was an assistant there for a bit, got a 5-year contract out of it, and Doug Armstrong, their GM, was like we just wanted to get a better head coach. Like he didn't outright say that, but his tone was like, yeah, got a good head coach on the market, and we got him. And I think his wife is from St. Louis, the St. Louis area. So I know all the Hawks fans that were like, oh, we should fire Luke Richardson and hire Jim Montgomery. I don't think that was ever going to be a thing. But
if Luke Richardson could literally figure out the offense and stop making dumb lineup decisions, I would have 0 complaints with the guy. But the way he deploys the forward core is the only reason I get on his butt. It's literally the only reason. Yeah. But, of course the Blues pick up Jim Montgomery because it's just always how it goes. What is Frank's number?
Who has it worse than us, man? Who has it worse than us? All the teams in our division are making big moves right now, and Kyle Davidson's done nothing.
Who has it worse?
It's an arms race, man. It really is.
Yep, that's why we need to go get Porter Martone in the draft. Or just get Higgins and laugh our way all the way to the bank. That'd be fun too. But
I'll take any of those guys. Higgins, Martone,
get top 4.
Yeah.
Dude, I'll take Misa 100%. Like, see, Misa and Martone got in a fight this weekend.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, I did.
That was funny.
Speaking of junior, Eric Vanacker played his first game back with Brantford. Just going on a tangent.
I did see that. Eric Vanacker.
Like the prospects are
produces.
Yeah, like the prospects are doing well right now. It's just that they don't like you see all these teams in the Central that are not only getting immediate help now, but for the future. Whereas the Blackhawks, like you got the future, but you don't really have help for now. Like in the AHL, Frank Nazar is tearing it up. Like you gotta call him up at some point. Lev Shunov looks like he's figuring it out. Did you see that play where he just like skated through everyone? And it's so funny with Lev Shunov because it's like he almost looks lazy out there, but he deked through like the entire, I think it was Grand Rapids team, and like made like a nice assist and then got an assist on Nazar goal yesterday. Like yeah, there's more, like way more than not. There's positive like production out of these Hawks prospects. Korchinski has been a lot better recently, and then going to like the juniors and college. Renzel has been great with Minnesota Moore starting to pick it up. I mean, Sasha Boisvert, I think, got like college rookie honors for last week or
Boisvert is a pivotal part of North Dakota right now in their offense.
There you go. And then like Nick Lardis is just casually goal per game in the OHL. Like he should make. I don't know what the situation is with Canada's World Junior roster right now, but he should be on that team. Just looking at the statistics alone, and that's like our very own Logan Stankoven right there. I love to see it.
Yeah, freaking! I'm just looking at Rockford's stats right now. Comesa's been.
Their goaltending hasn't been great. Yeah,
they're missing Arvid Soderblom.
Yeah. But look, he's probably not going to be going down there ever again. Nope. I'm trying to use the phone.
Yeah, like Weeks and him both stink this year. It's not promising.
Yeah.
But and same with Guyan, so that's not great.
That's the thing about goaltending, man. It's so like last year they had good years, those guys did. Soderblom was awful, and then now it's the reverse. Like that's freaking goaltending in a nutshell right there.
It really is. But Nazar's over a point a game at Rockford. I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. 10 goals in 16 games. Hello.
That's crazy. I didn't know it was 10 goals in 16 games. That's okay.
He scored like 3 this weekend alone. He's been on a hot.
I thought it was like 6 or like 7, 8 goals. 10 goals.
10 goals, 9 assists in 16 games.
Dude, he's a play driver. Freaking, and he can score goals. Just call him up, man. Like I know the thing of yo-yoing.
Half point a game.
Yeah, but like with Nazar, you just gotta be like, okay, we're not gonna keep you on the team the full year.
Call Nazar for the Winter Classic
in Rockford. Yeah, but yeah, make a trip to Chicago after Christmas, and you can celebrate the New Year in Chicago. Yeah,
dude, this is a fun Calder class too. Side note: Mishkov's got 19 points, Stakovin's got 15, Celebrity's got 14, Hudson's got 13.
I was gonna say, I wish Blackhawks fans would shut the fuck up about Matvey Michkov. Like, are you for real? Like, oh, we should have drafted Michkov over Bedard. I'm like, Michkov is an incredible
We're
talent.
actually saying that.
Like, yeah, I do. And again, another reminder of me not to go on Twitter X, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Michkov is awesome. Like, he should have gone second. Like, you could argue he could have gone second. Like, he's that talented. I'm so glad he's come over early and is a legitimate young star, a fun player to watch. And Blackhawks fans are like, well, Michkov is better. He's better than him. And like point production wise, yes, Michkov is better this year, but are we just gonna ignore the fact that Bedard won the Calder last year with less help than he has this year? And even though they won the same draft class, like Bedard's on like almost a full year younger than Michkov. Like Bedard's July 2005 and Michkov is I think December 2004. And very much not to take away from Michkov because he could easily win the Calder this year and he's so much fun to watch. But like Blackhawks, man, shut the fuck up. Like if this is the worst we're getting out of Bedard, like 60 points, like holy shit. Like
if this is his sophomore slump, LOL.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is like when Patrick Kane would go on a quote unquote slump and he was still point a game. Like I can't find a way to get like he's shooting 5%. Like it's not going to stay that way. And then the year he shoots 20%, he's going to have 50 goals. Like, that's the kind of player he's going to be.
Dude, he's going to be like Sam Reinhart. Like, Sam Reinhart shooting out like 25% or whatever.
And the best part is, like, the management could look at him and just be like, listen, this is going to be the last time this happens because now all the kids are going to start coming up and they're going to take the pressure off you and you're not going to get triple teamed on the power play, which would be kind of nice, you know? It'd be nice to not have, you know, Ryan Donato on your left circle and instead have, you know, freaking Michael Misa or something like Frank Nazar in the bumper. Like this is what the team is going to turn into over the next couple years. Fuck it. Let's get real spicy. Boisvert on the right circle, Nazar on the bumper, Bedard on the left circle. Gives a fuck who's at the net front at that point, and then one of course
Patrick Maroon,
Seth Jones at the point. Like that's what the power play is going to turn into at some point. And I get that's why Davidson's hesitant on getting guys, but you also can't bank on every prospect hitting.
Nope.
And that's what he's doing right now. Because, like, obviously, whoever you get in the top four, that's got to be that's got to be the Taves to his Kane or vice versa. But
the Robin to his Batman. Yeah. What were we talking about? We've gone on such a tangent.
We were supposed to talk about the Blues, but like, who cares? The Blues
more
are
like
the Blues.
The Poos. More like the St. Pou's Poos. Oh, owned.
We were watching Disney's hit special, Winnie the Pooh. So many Poos.
Me when I have Taco Bell.
Jesus. Okay. Okay.
Okay there, mister. I think you just
okay, Mr. Scientist.
Mr. Scientist. Do you have anything else? Do you have anything else to add on to the Blues hiring Jim Montgomery? Because I mean, I don't really know what else to say.
No, that just means they're going to beat us in the Winter Classic now, and I'm just glad I'm at it, so I don't have to hear the announcers talk about it for 3 hours. That'll be nice.
No, that's right. You're going. I'm so freaking jelly, bro.
Crazy.
Do you have good seats? Like where?
I have no idea where my seats are. I really don't care. I just want to be there because, like, I've had plans fall through to go see 3 of them, and like this is one of the best ones you could go see. The jersey combos,
Wrigley's Field, man. Yeah,
and the game's like perfect because it's 4:30 on New Year's Eve. So like, I'm gonna go just have fun on New Year's Eve in downtown Chicago afterwards, and I can just take the train because it's at Wrigley. It's gonna be great. It's the first time I can take the train back from a Hawks game ever.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I was supposed to. We were supposed to go to, when I was in Chicago. We were supposed to see. I think it was like Cubs and Cleveland baseball team, but there was like
Cleveland baseball team is crazy. Not the Cleveland baseball team. No.
But there was like a torrential rain downtown, and Rose and I were taking the train there, and I remember when like we got off one stop, they were like, "Oh, like you should probably like if you're like planning to go somewhere, like there's crazy rain, like you should like it was crazy rain," and we're like, "We should just go home." And then like I think right as we got off the train station, like everything cleared up. And then I'm just like, fuck, I don't want to like go another hour back and like be late to the game. So I missed my chance on going to Wrigley Field. I would love to go to Wrigley Field one day. Would love to be part of it.
Who up with Wrigley in their field right now?
Yeah, unless you're like sitting in a obstructed seat, I don't know if you could sit anywhere in that stadium and like not have like
there's not a bad seat in a ballpark, so that's the positive. I just want to see Nazar on the team when that happens. I think that would be a reward for him, even to just go up for a couple games.
Yeah. Agreed.
Doubt it though. It's gonna have to take someone getting hurt, most likely. Unfortunately.
Yeah, like too long didn't read. To wrap up this podcast quite nicely, call Frank Nazar up. And another point I wanted to make earlier that I forgot about, like Jason Dickinson, he's not at 100% right now. Like, not only do you need to make a trade to make this team better, like you need to always make a trade out of necessity, because if Dickinson does go down or whatever, who else is going to play center? Like, you got guys that can play. Did you say me?
I'm going in, guys. Get excited.
Jason Dickinson's out. Anyone in Chicago that can skate, you can be our second line center.
Skating tryouts. Be prepared for.
Who wants to be the second line center of the Chicago Blackhawks?
Oh my god! Ha ha ha! He he ho 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 ha
ha. So yeah. Last point. Could the Rangers trade some of their core players? Because things aren't going so well in the Big Apple right now. They got off to a really good start, and then I think they got blown out by Edmonton, and that's what prompted I think Elliot Friedman to tweet out, "Oh, Rangers are looking to shake it up, and Chris Kreider and Jacob Trouba could be one of the some of the players that are available."
What are we going on like year 3 of Jacob Trouba potentially getting traded? Like, oh.
Yeah.
I'll believe
it. Okay, John Gibson of defenseman. Like
literally, bro. Like, I'll believe it when I see it with that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think
I was like,
It's just crazy because like they've lost like 4 straight. It's not like they're just dog water like Nashville or something.
No. So, the thing is, they aren't a stacked division, but like they're 13-9-1. Like they're gonna make the playoffs.
You would think you would think the record's opposite with the way that they're getting talked about right now. They just won. So like
yeah, but they barely I think they were like down Montreal and they just barely won by like the seat of their pants, I think.
Yeah, but like low Montreal. Like that's like
Kako scored with like 24 seconds left to win, so
damn, he just like me in threes eliminator for real.
Just coming in clutch when it matters, yeah.
Heck yeah, brother.
Can't relate. I just throw body checks and slap shot the puck.
Slap shot from the
point. But like I looked at the Ranger, like could any of them be of use to the Blackhawks? I'm like they could, but then I looked at the length of the contracts. I'm like, nah, thank you. I'll pass.
Yeah. I mean, Kreider would help.
And then he waddled away. Waddle. To the very
Kreider for Kurashev. The trade is 1-for-1.
Wait, who for Kurashev?
Kreider.
Kreider for Kurashev.
The trade is 1-for-1.
Yeah, Kreider would be like a good fit, but for his age and how many years are left, nah.
I don't think so.
The aggregate doesn't like that so much.
My aggregate says it's good, so run it back, guys.
Me when I am Brendan Shanahan.
Me when I got
told we lost in the first round again. But do the like for me, the Rangers, they're very much like a team where, like, they're a very good team, but like when things go bad, just because of their owner, like it's walking like it's a trapeze act, like you're walking on a thin rope, like when things are going well, like, but then when, like, if you stumble a little bit, it's like, oh, we got to make moves in New York. Like I remember the way they reacted when Tom Wilson, that the whole Tom Wilson drama of a few years back, like when they put out a statement. Like I know how James Dolan acts when things aren't going so well for a sport team. Like Rangers, when it's going good, it's going good. But like if anything's just the slightest unstable,
the sky is falling. Okay.
Yes.
That's all you need to say.
Yes. I just don't like. How are you going to trade any of these contracts? They're so old players. Like, yeah, you're not. at least not right now. Like,
you're not. You're just gonna have to pray to God Shesterkin resigns. That's basically what it is. In my earnest opinion.
Yeah, I agree there. Yeah, I don't know how you try. Unless you trade Condrey Miller to the Blackhawks, then that might solve some things.
Condrey Miller would be kind of poopy this year, though.
Yeah, but then we buy low on him and trade Phil Kessel.
No, we'll trade him Alec Martinez. They'll be so happy.
Oh, you're so right, man.
Maybe a little Ethan Del Mastro too.
As a treat.
Just a traffic in Rockford.
Oh, is he had a bad start?
Dude, oh my God. I see him get walked at least once a game.
Oh, no. Like, it just sucks because we have no good left-handed defenseman in the
No, we have none. It's so bad. Oh my God.
Who has it worse than us, dude?
No one. No one ever has it worse than us. Don't forget it.
I trust me, I don't. I live it every day. I suffer through it. I carry this tremendous burden.
I carry this weight on my shoulders.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Heavy as those who wears the crown.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I think we can wrap it up there. I don't know. Do you have any closing thoughts?
I don't have any closing thoughts. I'd like the Hawks to win today. Who did the Hawks play this week? That's actually good. That's what we'll wrap.
Well, they play. Hey, on Monday, tomorrow night. Guess who they?
Oh, that's why Soderblom's not playing today.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's so funny. Like, it's a good story to talk about now this year. Now that Soderblom's doing good, it's like before he was only the Leaf killer. Like half of his career wins came against the Leafs, and now it's like, oh, you're good, and now he gets to play against the Leafs.
Big week though. They get Blue Jackets today, Leafs tomorrow, Bruins Wednesday, Jets Saturday. Like you could make a big, stride this week potentially.
Yeah, that's the thing. I say it's 82 games. It's so many games. They still have 59 games remaining. Yeah, you're not gonna make the playoffs. I joked about like the road to 30 wins, but like if they get on a hot streak and be more consistent with the goal scoring, like that's a thing that can happen. Like take advantage of the rest of these games. Like either you can play shit or just actually play good. So yeah,
I choose play good.
Yeah, I would too.
Potentially.
And Kyle Davidson, take a chance on me. Make a trade.
Take a chance on me.
Yeah, for literally Morgan Frost, Trevor Zegras.
Bro, I have such a good slap shot from the point. Call me Tyson Berry.
Damn, call you Dion Phaneuf. No,
let's go.
Get excited. All right. Thank you for tuning in to our wonderful, beautiful podcast. This honestly was a great way to wake me up because I was barely awake and now I'm like full of energy and I didn't even need my pipeline punch. So let's freaking go. As you're drinking a Monster. Is that a Monster?
It is a rainbow orange dreamsicle.
That's good.
Tastes like good. Piss, but it wakes you up. So
tastes like
piss. Like piss. It tastes pretty good.
So yeah, thank you for tuning into our podcast. Give us a 5-star rating on your preferred podcast platform, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, or Google. It's just about on any podcast platform. If you're watching our beautiful faces on YouTube, then hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, notification bell, so you don't miss out on any new content. So yeah, for Pierce and Dylan, take it easy, y'all, and we shall talk another time.